project that I kind of like started maybe 3 years ago, and then we've had like many different groups like this that I've organized, and that like NSSP, Angela previously, and now Dalom has been helping to facilitate and to kind of bring people together. And the project is kind of reclaiming Sherpa. Basically, the idea is to kind of make people aware, the community aware, and also people outside the Sherpa community aware. The Sherpa is not like only a brand, but it's also a community. And if they're making profit out of branding, we want them to first thing financially support Sherpa communities or Sherpa organizations that are doing work in Sherpa communities. The second thing is to make sure that they have some sort of acknowledgement in their website, in any of their products, that Sherpa is a community, not only a branding or like a product.
I mean, yeah, when I think of reclaim, I mean take back, right? And I mean it's also for us, like as Sherpas, like living in America, as an American poly, I guess, because we kind of lost touch of like what it means to be Sherpa. I mean, we obviously have the name, but like we don't really know what it really means, and I think that's probably one of their like values and goals.
Even my mentor, like earlier, he mentioned like we were having like a careers like session, and he mentioned like, oh, like there's this Sherpa consulting like company, and I was like, oh, like Sherpa, that's my last name, you know. So like I think this event like will bring out more like awareness about like the misuse of the term, like everyone else said. Like the term like literally means like these people, so like bringing on like more cultural awareness, and I'll be like keep on that one.
The title Reclaiming Sherpa, my thought was different because I thought it was something about like bringing awareness to like foreign-born Sherpa children who are not aware or like forgetting, they do not actually know much about Sherpa culture, and helping them realize what it means to be Sherpa and making them more aware and change their culture and religion. And then when I like looked up the word properly, and then I realized it's actually about misuse of the word for the benefit, like my brother says, and he said for like industry and other purposes.
Everyone said like also how the term is being like misused, like it's a part of our identity, like our last name. It's like where our people are from. And here, like in the US, you see how like the term is also used in clothing, which I've seen a lot, so I was kind of confused about that.
I feel like I go to school in like the widest state, so I've like this is a conversation that I have with like all the people like all the time, and especially like I go to school in Maine, so it's like a lot of outdoor stuff and a lot of like hiking, camping, and stuff like that. And when I go on it, like my friends, they are like all like, oh, I've been to Nepal and I went to like go to like EBC or like ABC or like whichever hiking they did, and that's the term that they use. And I feel like sometimes it's a hard conversation for me to have because I'm like saying it constantly to my friends. I feel like today, like I really want to learn like how to best approach this conversation and start with people who aren't aware of like how the term is being used.
I don't really know too much about the issue of like other companies like using our name as their like brand. So I guess I'm scared to learn more.
Saw the topic reclaiming Sherpa, I thought like it was preserving the culture, Sherpa culture and everything, but like when I came here, like it was totally different. Yes, no, but it was. I didn't know that like, they are using like Sherpa name to promote the brand. I also saw like Sherpa awards, and then a lot of things. So I just really think so.
My work is business development, right? I just go around events and then I have a talk with people and all the business people. And I work for Sherpa Construction Consulting. And my name tag would be Sherpa Construction Consulting, Dawa Sherpa, right? Everyone's like, Sherpa, did you go to that hiking last time? Right? So there's no one asking me about what I do for a job. It's always the Sherpa, always with the mountain. So what I tell them is, my grandparents were trader, stick around, and no connection with mountain. And basically what I'm trying to tell them is, hey, you hear Sherpa, it's not only mountain. There's a lot of things going on. I think it's because Tenzin Norgay Sherpa and Sir Edmund Hillary picked up, and then they wrote an article about it, and then that's how like Western countries just picked up the Sherpa and just tag that in. So I stuff. But yeah, I'm with this, and then I want to change it too. So also I'm here to learn how to change it. said.
Yeah. I want to add something. Nepal, and I was born in the mountainous region. And last time when there was an article that came out saying this Sherpa guy went missing with his guide, like the foreign guy who died. And then we're in a meeting, and the one guy goes, "Oh, Dawa, I saw this article about the Sherpa who went missing. Like, do you know them?"
Right.
Tell me what that is.
And one more thing,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? So those stuff I want to share, and some stuff I don't know because I was not raised. Yes, my father's Sherpa, but not raised in Sherpa family. So I want to learn what Sherpa family looks like at the same time. And I want to share with you that Tarai Mapani Sherpa, right? There's Sherpa in hilly also. There's Sherpa in mountain also, right? So Nepal is divided into 3 regions, right? That's the Purara, you know, like my friend, I saw my friend is from Nepal too. That guy thought we Sherpas are only from that Sagarmatha region, right? And I told him, bro, it's not like that. Even Tarai Mapani Sherpas are. Damn, I didn't know that.
There's I don't know, it's just misconception about Sherpas, right? Like they think, even I had that incident, someone asked me, "Oh, you're a Sherpa, like, have you climbed mountain?" I was like, seriously? You know, I didn't know how to respond to that. And there's this stigma that we need to really take it out of that box and, you know, let them know that Sherpas are not just, you know, who walks around mountains. Like, they're more than that. So I think today for this event, I was curious. I didn't know what it was for, and so I'm glad that you know, whatever you guys are saying, I agree with it, and I'm glad I'm here. Thank you.
Let's learn together. That's it.
It doesn't come with a negative mindset or like a negative notion. They just want to set like common ground between you.
Yeah.
And I guess they could do like better on their end to like learn more about you
Yeah.
and your community. But I feel like that's a two-way street. So like, if I meet someone who's Italian, I'm not gonna assume like pizza, but yeah.
But you will.
I feel being here and like hearing everyone's response, what they feel about what the topic is about. I guess I feel excited, like lack of a better word, to know that it's just not me that's feeling that way, because I feel like this is something that I've thought about a lot, like especially like when my friends talk about it, when I go up hiking, like my friends talk about this topic a lot. When I'm leading a hiking trip, like that's like the first thing. And also like when my friends, like they send me screenshots of like airline company or like like a tourism company that is like using the word for it, and I'm just like, why would they do that? And I just feel glad that it's just not me, but like there are people out, like Sherpa youth out there, who feel the same way regarding the misuse of the word.
Yeah. When they wrote an article about Edmund and Tisnoge, everybody knew about it, right? Or compartmentalize those people. They are all in the boomers. Only boomer will come to you and say, right? I mean, I had realized because there's another young guy who came, told me about the book thing. Told me about the Edmund Hillary's son gave TED talk, right? He never talked to me about the mountain. You know what I mean? So it's that mindset.
When people say like we are Sherpa, and in some sense we need to be proud, but we also need to explain that we are not worried about like working the mountain. We are like more of that.
Go ahead and about how things came about. Like you mentioned how the media played a role, so we can, you know, turn things around in a positive manner for us starting today. So I think the group session that we are having right now, or therapy, I don't know, anything like that. So I think it's the first step that we are taking already, and it leads me to a lot of questions of why and how and what kind of behavior or theories we can use, a theory of change, or how do we change people's minds, you know, and the perception and breaking the stereotype. So I think call to action, and it leads to me a lot of questions while I go back home about how do I navigate the questions, or how do I navigate the stereotypes the incoming days. So I think with a lot of responsibility in an individual as well as a community place.
The Sherpa word being misused was when I was like trying to write a paper about like Sherpa. So I was just trying to research like what Sherpas are doing here and there. at first, like most of the research are mostly about like timbers and their blood cells and how it interacts when they're in high altitude. And later on, like I went deeper, and I saw like different websites like about Sherpa, and I was like kind of confused, like has our reached like that far? And then I realized they are not even like related to Sherpa. So just like my brother said, like I think it's okay for them to use the word Sherpa as long as they clarify that they're not like part of Sherpa. They're just trying to reach the group of Sherpa communities. Because I think it's important to like make that clear distinction, because like in the future, like they might be using the Sherpa words to like climb, like increase their brand market. But if there was like a bad, like let's say like they did something bad, the company is dealing with something that's not honest to the customers, then that could like backfire towards us. Like you're gonna remember us that way, not as mountaineer or something. So it's important that they clarify like they're just trying to connect the Sherpa community, but they're not part of Sherpa. None of them are. And in that regard, I think it's okay to use it as long as they clarify who they are and what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I think I heard really good things about like how people are feeling about this thing, and how like what like positive or negative emotions out of this. So this is my third or fourth session for the past 2 years, but I've done like just like group trees named Sherpa, because again goes back to this whole idea of being an assistant. So anything that is assisting, any part of a rocket that is assisting is called Sherpa. So there is like different ways, and even United Nations, they have a whole Sherpa team. So these are all assistants, and then they have annual meetings, and it's the Sherpa meeting, and these are all white people put together, and then it's called the Sherpa meeting, and it's like one of the
like social media. I think social media is like a great way like to like bring awareness more about this topic, and even like reaching out to our connections. Like I know there's like average times like the Nepali community, but like maybe reaching out to like people like in like more like the US community, like anyone working in like New York Times or something. So like this publication could be more like handled with like more so that there's more awareness.
Yes. Or you can like post it, you can make a post out of it, anything. So it's because again I said this is not a personal effort, so it has to be something that you can take control of as a member of the community. And then just like feel free to share it, feel free to like make a post out of it. You have links to the images, feel free to make like something out of it and then post it on your own end, okay?
More so a nuanced understanding of what Sherpas are as people, aside from the materialistic implications of, or like the way that maybe the Sherpa name is commoditized in terms of branding, apparel, fashion, the fashion industry, but it's more of like an understanding of the people and separating that from, I guess, an action word or a verb, or how it could be used to define other things, right? Like for example, some people as guides who are not even Sherpa call themselves Sherpas as a way to increase the business, right? But then because of that, the distinction there between the identity of an individual as a Sherpa versus Sherpa as a trekking business, they overlap, right? And so the word gets used in multiple different ways. So I think from that standpoint, it's just having the platform and the educational infrastructure like provided so that if people do want to learn more about it, it's available, like with documentaries or like some informational sessions. And usually like in daily conversations when people bring up like, oh yeah, you can, when I talk about Everest, they're like, oh yeah, there's a lot of Sherpas there providing like tour guides and stuff, or like providing guidance, or like they'll be like, you can hire a Sherpa, and then like I'll be like, yeah, that's correct to a certain extent, but like this is also what Sherpa means, just like casually without saying that they're not correct, because to be fair, I mean we all have a level of ignorance in the world, and no one has the time or knowledge to know everything about every culture, but it's just being able to know yourself and then provide that information to other people in your life or in your social network.
I think when we were first brainstorming this idea, we had talked about, like asking them just not to use the name anymore, right? Yeah. And it was interesting, that process, because there's like a divide even within the community. Like it's very nuanced of cultural appropriation versus appreciation, where like folks like us who got educated here or grew up here, we have a different understanding where it like irritates us, right? That folks are using the name and profiting off of it. But then it's interesting because you talk to our elders and they're actually very happy that they're using the name and they don't want them to stop using the name. But that's why the idea of having them just redistribute funds was really popular, because it's kind of like a win-win, where it's like these companies are selling an idea when they use the word Sherpa, right? And then I think everyone understands that. And so having them, like asking them to just either identify what a Sherpa means or why they're using that word, or having them distribute funds to Sherpa communities makes a lot of sense. And I think that's why we approached it this way. So
like their Instagram handle or Twitter handle and just post this and just be like, hey, like, you know, like Sherpa right there, like, you know, and then just have the two, like, you can pick up a few like phrases or words from the letter and just like, you know, Nike Sherpa jacket. So again, anything that is like fur-lined, everything is named Sherpa, right? There's shoes as well, like anything fur-lined that's like the Jordan, the Jordan, Air Jordan is like the Sherpa fleece. There's this one too, which is like the Sherpa hood jacket. So this is really interesting one. So this one is like, they're actually lawyers apparently, and so I don't get an understanding of how or why they think that it's
I see the word, yeah.
You see the word, right?
Yeah, Sandra headed the globalization.
Oh god, I'm not being able to.
A little bit down. Alimonio.
Yeah, it's
like
the
if
link.
you go up,
Yeah.
Sherpa.org.
Yeah, it's the link as well.
They say it down there.
You have all the websites too on that page, right? With
Yes,
the Sherpa companies. Yeah.
Yes, so these are all also like on the list of companies, but you can see like, you know, they're like, okay, the word here is like human rights program within the within Sherpa for almost 8 years. So the company itself is named Sherpa, and they're like a bunch of lawyers.
Wow.
And then this is another one which is like Global Sherpa. It's like international development and yeah, something, I'm not very sure.
There was also that travel company, the one that does clearance for
Yes,
you. Yeah.
that is also there. Yeah, we've added that there as well. So a lot more. There's like almost all the clothing companies using it. So it's like you go to any clothing site, you will find it. Urban Outfitters, of course. There's the Sherpa jacket. There's another ones. There's more clothing brands. Clothing brands is much more like, it's just like in clothing space, it's just like blown out of proportion at this point. I'm just going to skip through because these are all the brands and companies. And yeah, again, I was shopping and this is what I came across. I was like, the Fall Sherpa jacket. This is from Tommy Jeans. And this is another one, which is private courier. And it's named Sherpa Private Courier. Yeah, so this was
Wow.
a good, so you can definitely use that. If you just go on your like app store and type Sherpa, there is like 80 to 70 apps just on Sherpa. So it's like it's wild, like from different. There's like a Sherpa food delivery. There's a Sherpa. This is like senior living services. So it's just like this travel Sherpa desk. This is a health desk agency. So I literally just started taking screenshots after I figured out that there is like at least 70 apps or something. So this is like a Sherpa. This is the AR Walking City. This is the and then there's like,
there was this store, and they were having a sale, and all the sign said was like 50% off Sherpa. I was like, what? I just think that work like this shows how complicated relationships can be with identity, and there's never one right answer, right? It's very nuanced, it's very complicated, but I think we can all agree that we would like to see more funding go to our communities. That's a very universal idea for all of us that we can get around. So yeah, keep adding your edits to the letter. Don't feel like there's a right or wrong answer. Just be truthful about how you feel, and we can try to incorporate as many of those ideas as possible.
So I thought today's meeting went really well. It really opened my eyes to a lot of new ideas because this is something that I've never thought about personally. I mean, I hear about it on the news, but I've never like sat down with a group of Sherpa people like from our own community and talked about it. And I think like before anything, like we do need to improve a little bit on the notes. And I really like the idea I think my brother pitched earlier about like having a little snippet or like a QR code talking about what Sherpa people are. And I feel like the website was a great idea. I think like we're thinking about making a website for NSSP. So since we are reaching out through NSSP, if we have a website, like when we have a website, if we have a snippet of like or a page of like what Sherpa means and like the background behind everything, I think that would be a great thing to have.
I think just to piggyback on what he said, I'm like, right, I think just like hearing everyone speak, I'm just a bit relieved that there are like people concerned about this issue and it's just not me that like I think about when like my friends tell me like, oh, what is this? So yeah, I think it was like a really meaningful conversation and just for me like hearing, like looking at the letter and seeing the solutions that you have provided, I feel like it has like opened my eyes for sure on like things that we should do. So I'm very glad to be part of this and I'm excited to see for the future.
So I was really glad that I came in here today. I think there was a lot that I learned. If I'm being honest, the issues that were brought up today was not something I would normally think about. So I know what's going on with like the mountaineering side of things, where like people go on like these dangerous expeditions, people lose like the breadwinners of their family. But on the other side of how like the word Sherpa is commoditized and how it might reflect poorly on us, it's not something I used to think about actively. So I think it adds more to how like if something hits home, like you think about it more. So I think this is something I'll be thinking more about. And also like since identity is tied to it, I think it's something worth exploring for me. So I'm very glad that I came in today.
Enjoy hearing what people thought about this topic today. And if we didn't have this discussion, maybe I wouldn't have learned so much or known like how big of an issue it had already been. And I'm like glad we have like a space and a space where we can like talk about this. Yes, like, that's it.
What everyone said. I think it will definitely be more helpful if you like reach out to more youth group, even if they don't like want to be involved, just to let them like, oh, do you agree with this message? Like, can we like use your logo as like someone who supports this message or something like that? And I think the ideas that they gave were like really good. Or like the girls said, I think like to like have like news publications like kind of be involved in it.
Yeah,
even if it's something small. Like I know there's a Nepali newsletter that goes out, like something like that, where even people in our community can like kind of start to like think about better. I think this was really good.
That's how like I'm really like trying to get more people involved so that it kind of the if there is a question or if somebody is pushing back, you can explain that this is the approach we're taking, and we can have more momentum. But yeah, thank you.
I thought it was really cool, even though like we came late and I didn't realize like I learned a lot and I didn't realize how many companies actually use the workshop.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
I think to have, because starting the discussion and having this in place really helps form like a quasi movement in the sense that I think Angela brought up colonization. And the fact of the matter is colonization is not something that happens overnight. It's microaggression after microaggression. So it's just being able to stand up and understand like who you are and your identity. Because as these microaggressions go, we don't know what the end point is because it's just going to go further and further to a point of no turning back. But being able to stand up and have this discourse really provides the ability for future Sherpas to be custodians of their identity. In a sense that when a lot of people, especially people who are well-traveled, will ask you about, oh yeah, I know what Sherpa is in Mount Everest. So ideally, I would like to see us come to a certain point where any Sherpa can have the conversation in a nuanced manner with other people who are willing to or curious to know about it versus providing a very high level and maybe vague answer about Sherpa and Sherpas are trek guides because there's a much more nuanced identity of who we are from that standpoint, and like providing the conversation to maybe having like a panel at one of your Sherpa Kiruk events where people just talk about the identity of Sherpa, because you want to get to a point where we're not the only ones having the conversation, but everyone is, right?
Yeah.
To a certain extent.
Yeah.
So.
Especially having key reclaiming Sherpa event, people sangat-sangat takut lah tu je.